Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Batra, page 13b, top of the page, with the words Kach Lecha Avadim V'Yirchatzu B'Merchatz. Go take servants for yourself, and they will bathe in the bathhouse. Or he can say, go take olives for yourself, and come and transform them into oil in the olive press. Evidently, the poor brother cannot say to him, buy my share. The Gemara rejects this proof. There too, the poor brother can say, you set a price and buy my share, as the rich brother has the means to buy his poor brother's portion, but he is not able to say, or else I will set a price and buy your share, as the poor brother does not have the money to buy his brother out. The Gemara further proposes, come in here, a proof from what is taught in Batra. Anything which, even after it is divided, each of the parts retains the name of the original item, may it be divided. And if the parts will not retain the original name, the item should not be divided, but rather its monetary value is assessed, because one of the joint owners can say to the other, either you set a price and buy it from me, or I will set a price and buy it from you. The Gemara explains, actually, this matter is a dispute between Tanaim, as it is taught in a Batra. If a courtyard, or the like, was not large enough to warrant division into two, and one of the co-owners said to the other, you take a minimum measure of the courtyard, for example 4 cubits, and I will take less, the court listens to him. Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel says they do not listen to him. The Gemara clarifies the Batra. What are the circumstances of the case under discussion? If we say it is exactly as it is taught, what is Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel's reasoning? Why does he rule that the court ignores the party who is prepared to settle for less? Rather, is it not that the Batra is incomplete? And this is what it is saying. If one of the co-owners said to the other, you take a minimum measure of the courtyard, and I will take less, all agree that the court listens to him. And the Tana of the Batra adds, and if one says, either you set a price and buy it from me, or I will set a price and buy it from you, they also listen to him. And Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel comes to say, in the first case, the court does listen to him, but they do not listen to him when he says, either you set a price or I will set a price. Accordingly, this issue is the subject of a Tanaitic dispute. The Gemara rejects this interpretation of the Batra. No, the Batra should actually be understood exactly as it is taught. And with regard to what you said, what is Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel's reasoning? Why can't one of the parties say that they should divide the property and he will settle for less? It is because the second one can say to him, if you want me to compensate you with money for the difference between my share and your share, I have no money to give you. And if you wish to give it to me as a gift, I'm not at ease with that. As it is written, but he who hates gifts shall live. So v'soneh matanot yichyeh. Proverbs 15:27. The Batra indicates that there is a halacha of either you set a price or I will set a price, in accordance to the opinion of Rav Yehuda. As a continuation of this discussion, Abaye said to Rav Yosef, that statement of Rav Yehuda is actually the opinion of Shmuel, his teacher, as we learned in the Mishnah. (11a), but in a case of sacred writings, in other words, a scroll of any of the 24 books of the Bible that were inherited by two people, they may not divide them, even if both of them wish to do so. But it would be a show of disrespect to cut the scroll in half. And Shmuel said they taught that sacred writings should not be divided only if they are contained in one scroll. But when they are contained in two scrolls, they may be divided. And if it should enter your mind to say that there is no halacha of either you set a price or I will set a price, why does the halacha apply specifically to one scroll? Even if the sacred writings were contained in two scrolls, they should also not divide them, since the respective parts will not be even, and one of the recipients will have to compensate the other. Rav Shalman interpreted the Mishnah. It is referring to a case where they both want to divide the sacred writings. Therefore, Shmuel said that they may do so when they are contained in two scrolls. But if just one of them wishes to divide them, there is no proof that he can compel the other one to accept the division. Maimar said the halacha is in accordance to the opinion of Rav Yehuda, that there is a halacha of either you set a price or I will set a price. Rav Ashi said to Maimar, what about that statement of Rav Nachman, who disagrees with Rav Yehuda and says that there is no such halacha? Maimar said to him, I do not know of it. That is to say, I do not maintain this opinion. The Gemara asks, and is the halacha not in accordance with the opinion of Rav Nachman? But it happened that the father of Ravin bar Chinana and Rav Dimi bar Chinana died, and left them two maidservants, one of whom knew how to bake and to cook, and the other of whom knew how to spin and to weave. One of the brothers suggested that each of them take one of the maidservants entirely for himself and forfeit his rights to the other maidservant. They came before Rava, and he said to them, there is no halacha of either you set a price or I will set a price. The Gemara answers, it is different there, since this master wanted both of them and the other master wanted both of them. Therefore one of the brothers said to the other, you take one and I will take the other one. It is not a case of either you set a price or I will set a price. The Gemara asks, and can we not say so? But there is the case of sacred writings, which both of them presumably want. And Shmuel said, they taught the sacred writings should not be divided only if they are contained in one scroll, but when they are contained in two scrolls, they may be divided. The Gemara answers, Rav Shalman interpreted the Mishnah is referring to a case where they both want to divide the sacred writings, and in such a case they may divide them, provided that they are in two scrolls. The Gemara now begins a general discussion about sacred writings. The sages taught, a person may attach the Torah, the prophets, and the writings together as one scroll. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says the Torah should be a scroll by itself, the books of the prophets a scroll by themselves, and the books of the writings a scroll by themselves. And the sages say each one of the books of the prophets and the writings should be a scroll by itself. And Rabbi Yehuda said there was an incident involving Baitos ben Zonin, who had 8 books of the prophets attached together as one scroll. And he did this with the approval of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. The others say that each and every one of the books was a scroll by itself in accordance with the opinion of the sages. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi said, there was an incident where they brought before us the Torah, the prophets, and the writings attached together as one scroll, and we ruled in accordance to the opinion of Rabbi Meir and deemed them fit. The Gemara states, when different books are included in the same scroll, 4 empty lines of space should be left between each book of the Torah, and similarly between one book of the prophets and another. But between each of the books of the 12 prophets, only 3 empty lines should be left, because they are considered one book. And the scribe may finish a book at the bottom of one column and begin the next book at the top of the next column without leaving any empty space in between. Tanu Rabbanan, the sages taught in Braita, one who wishes to attach the Torah, the prophets, and the writings together as one scroll may attach them. He should leave enough empty parchment at the beginning of the scroll for winding around the pole to which the beginning of the scroll is fastened. And at the end of the scroll, he should leave enough empty parchment for winding around the entire circumference of the rolled up scroll. And he may finish a book at the bottom of one column and begin the next book at the top of the next column without leaving any empty space between them.